If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
On this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., we welcome back David "BOOG" Krol, PBA superstar, PBA champion, the three-time guest, first ever three-time guest on this show. We'll talk about his wins over the summer, what he's looking forward to in the upcoming 2025 PBA National Tour, and a whole lot more. Of course, we'll also have the episode of the week, time permitting. Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. starts now.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Butcher here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Similarly does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Oh, hang on one second. There we go. Forgot I had the wrong hat on. All right. This is episode number 136. We have a very special guest tonight. Before we get into that, let's see who is in the chat tonight. We got Bowling with Diallo. What's going on, brother? Nico, our resident statistician and news correspondent. What's going on, Nico? Big Bull from YouTube. Welcome to the show. Says BOOG is the man. I can't argue with that. We got Crambone. Crambones in the house. We got Jeff Skyers, my buddy from Central Tennessee. Jesus Christ. He should be in Central Tennessee. We'd have a good time. Central-ish Florida. What's going on? Happy Wing Wednesday to you, brother. And what we are missing an Ocho. We do not have Ocho tonight. He may pop in at some point, but he was talking about something about getting back into the ring. His wedding ring. Couldn't fit in it. Got stuck on his finger. So he's trying to get that off his finger. And while he does, we'll just have to carry on the show without him. But let's introduce the man with the name of the marquee, the one everybody else wants to see, other than Ocho. He's a special guest with himself as well. Still can't hit the cutoff man, Evelyn and Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, Evelyn. Good evening, Johnny.
She keeps hearing her name. She just has no idea where to look.
Hi, Evelyn.
They're saying hi to you.
Hi,
you are
Evelyn.
the most important person on this. Don't be shy. Say hello. You don't have to be camera shy. You can wave.
Adorable. Absolutely adorable.
My egg. How you doing, Rad Rob?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you?
We are doing just fine. It's I'll tell you what, after being in Vegas for 12 years, what a blessing these last few months in Jersey have been. It's just now starting to get to a point where I need to put on a sweatshirt in the evening or the early morning.
Right.
But I mean, close to 70 degrees. I mean, all the way through a couple days ago, to be quite honest. I mean, this has just been, I know we're in a drought and I know we need rain, but, I mean, I know Vegas doesn't need as much water technically as we do here in the Garden State, but we're going to be just fine. It's certainly coming. But man, this people out sitting outside on their lawn in their bathing suits right now. It's still so beautiful here.
I mean, yeah, like 50 degrees in Jersey is still shorts weather. So it's the same way here in Tennessee. I'm still mowing my lawn in November, and I know we're further south, but we're in the mid-south. I mean, we still get the cold weather. We don't get the snow and all that, but it still gets down to like 20 or 30 in the winter. But yeah, you're right. Today I think it was like 62. It was like the lowest it's been in a while. So it's starting to get a little bit cooler, but it's still ridiculous that I have to mow my lawn in November. But anyways.
But other than that, everything is as good as it can be over here. It's actually been really, really nice not getting into my Facebook account for exactly a month tomorrow. I got to be honest, I've been a lot happier in life not scrolling through Facebook for X amount of hours a day. But
you missed the whole political cycle for the last month, right? So
I mean, I missed the social media aspect of it, other than what I saw on TikTok. My random balcony cigarette where I'll scroll through TikTok for 20 minutes. But other than that, no. I mean, just kind of kept up with the news here and there, various stations. But yeah, as far as all the nonsense and the arguing, like we have enough of that already. So me personally, I just want cookies to be great again. Please make double stuffed Oreos the way you used to, for fuck's sake. Yeah, double stuffs now are single stuffed, and it's driving me up a wall. But
I agree.
Anyway, we could talk about that at a later time.
Well, it's inflation. What are you gonna do? All right, let's bring in our very special guest. He is the first 3-time guest, to my knowledge. I mean, I don't remember much about this.
You are correct. You are correct.
All right. I didn't know if Stephanie was close or. We've had a lot of 2-time guests on here, but
maybe Steph. Good call there. I think we've had Steph on at least 3 times, but
shit, I got to redo the press release, and
that's okay. Well, I'm sure she'll give it a pass.
Let's bring in our very special guest. He has been waiting patiently for the last 4.5 minutes. The one and only PBA superstar, David Boog Krol. What's going on, Boog?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good,
Welcome
man.
back, bro.
You like my hat?
Thank you. Dude, got the merch. I love it. Thanks for supporting.
You're welcome.
Heck yeah. It's a good looking hat too. I like the font.
It is.
It's clean. It's neat.
Is it embroidered?
Rob, you'd have to answer that.
I don't
or is
know.
it screen printed?
I think it. No, it's bordered. Yeah, it's not screen printed.
That's awesome. Sweet.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And once I saw that you posted it, I said I got to get one. It was the last day before they were going out, and I got to support my boy Boog.
Thank you.
But dude, you've been pretty busy, man. You had quite the summer.
Yeah, it's been a crazy summer.
It really has. I mean, it really never stopped since you won the PBA playoffs. I mean, you've just been going and going and going.
Yeah, it's been either like Kevin and I went to Utah for a string pin regional, went to Costa Rica for 9 days for the La Raza, and just been bowling every weekend since. Whatever I get my hands on.
Yeah, you finished second in the La Raza. You won one in North Dakota, South Dakota.
Yeah, we spent like 12 days in North Dakota and Minnesota doing clinics, and a couple wins there.
That's awesome.
Look, let me
go ahead.
I actually have a question for you. First off, congrats on the successful bowling throughout the summer.
Thank you.
But do you find, first off, I'm assuming these are these have got to be most likely on some kind of a sport pattern, but probably not a PBA pattern. Do you find a big difference when you go and you bowl sport events as compared to the PBA as far as do the lanes break down differently? Do you find them to be a little bit easier, harder, or is the transition kind of the same?
It's funny you say that. I went to Houston for an NDO event on the China, and it was a terrible weekend. Like, I used to be able to strike on the China all the time, but ever since like the last few years on like the tour and having success there, I just haven't been able to figure out on house stuff. I don't see a normal house shot at all because like my league I bowl once a week is on the burn after a league shift every night, and just seeing a fresh house shot in transition is way different. During the NDO event, I would go 260 game one, then hit transition game two, and I'd shoot 211. And in Houston, Texas area, it's not enough ever for 211 in brackets. So
Sure.
it would just be a mental grind. And like, I know that I can do it. I'm smart enough to make the moves, but it's like, I'm not seeing it right.
You know, that was kind of the basis of my question here, is because even just going from like a standard house shot to like I won't even call it a sports shot, so like a 6-to-1 ratio. I find myself like when I go and I bowl, say like the Marcus Memorial event that's coming up here in less than a month. They're difficult there, but there is a zone, and then from that zone, it's usually okay. I got to make the hand position, the speed, the right ball match up from this zone, and eventually I'll move from this zone to this zone. Obviously, it changes a lot more for the righties as opposed to the left, but we're still trying to control the ball at least front to back from the zone that's dictated.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm on a house shot, like, I mean, a couple weeks ago at Majestic Lanes here in New Jersey, I shot 845. I threw it well, but it doesn't really matter how good you throw it. In order to shoot 845, you got to have
something. You got to have some luck.
They got to be falling the right way, and you got to have a little in and a little out, right?
Yeah.
And then the next few weeks, that's very same house shot. It's like all of a sudden I'll bowl like I'll grind out a 2-teen, and then the next thing you know, I go stone 8, blower 10, and then 4 through the middle out of nowhere on a shot that I thought was good, and now I got 41 in the third frame. And it's like, oh fuck! Now I got to figure out a way to throw a couple turkeys, and it doesn't really necessarily make sense to me, especially on the left, because I'm like, I don't think I fucked it up that bad. We only had 6 minutes of practice tonight.
Yeah.
It's almost like and I've had a lot of people coming up to me saying, have you been experiencing a lot more transition here and there? And I guess that was kind of the basis of my question, and your answer kind of made me feel a little bit better about myself. So.
Yeah, typically for like the tour move is just like jump left, hit it harder, whatever. But for like normal, like what I saw in Houston, it's like, okay, why am I picking up speed with my feet, throwing it harder? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like it's not what you see on tour. It's usually all about getting left over the gutter cap, just shaping as much as possible. But on these house shots I've been mowing recently, it's just not that. We bowled an event this past weekend in Omaha, the Joe Thompson Memorial, and it was on a standard 44 feet, 30 mils, like 7.5-to-1 ratio, like a normal house shot, and it just wasn't clicking. Like I was throwing too big of balls where I thought I would need them, but everyone around me was striking, like throwing it harder through the fronts, like game 5 of a singles event. It just doesn't make any sense. Like usually I'm over the gutter cap, seeing shape, and not in the front part of the lane. It's just different. The different animal.
Do you think that is attributed to the talent and the understanding of lane breakdown on tour compared to the wishy-washiness, even in a sport event or a league night? I mean, I mean, a couple lefties on my pair, I'm always 25 right of all of them. I mean, always. Yeah. And then I got the guy that's throwing knuckles up 10 and the guy that's spraying something in the middle of the two of us.
Yeah, we have a guy who I bowl league with, and his moves are either throw it harder or throw it harder and harder and just move right close to the gutter. I'm like, is there not moving left here? Can we not shape it? Open the hand a little bit? But no, it's just like some people just don't see it that way.
Totally understand.
Johnny, you need to ship him one of the LT48s you got new in box so he can use that.
Oh, man. Are you? Yeah, I mean, I would actually love to see you throw an original LT.
That'd be sick.
Oh, man, it'd probably roll like God for you. Absolutely.
Have you thought about plastic, like when it comes to stuff like that?
I have, but it's just so hard when you're like. Usually, I think about it like 6 frames in. I'm like, shit, I got 2-0 left if I strike out here. I'm just trying to grind it out real quick.
Right.
Sure.
That's rough.
Yeah.
What is your practice regimen, your thought process, your ideas going into this tour season? What are I don't even call them goals, just what are you doing to approach the season compared to years past? What have you really been working on, like, to hone in on top of what you already do well? What's going on?
Right now, I'm not scoring very well, so right now it's getting reps in. I'm practicing on Mondays, Tuesdays gym. If I have time to practice on Tuesdays, I'll do that. Wednesday is gym, and then league tonight. Thursday will be a practice day, and then Friday will be gym and some practice.
Excellent. And is there anything in particular, like, I mean, obviously we're talking about the gym. I go to the gym with a plan every single day that I go, and if the plan doesn't go exactly according to schedule, I still have other, like, if I'm going to train arms and a couple machines are taken, I know various exercises to replace that. Or I'll say to myself, hey, you know what, the bottom of my bicep is nice, but I want the peak to start popping out more, so I'll do variations to kind of target that more. When you're going on your days to practice, are you going there with a set plan? Are you there to shoot spares? Are you there to, like, work on something that you would consider your C game to make it more like a B or an A?
I'm there to just get reps in. I'm not really working on anything. I feel I'm pretty sharp right now. I'm just not scoring very well. I'm more worrying about, like, the end of the lane right now to see the entry angle, to see why I'm not striking as much. But spares are good right now. If I just practice those, they're going to be decent. But just right now, I'm worried about seeing the ball the right way down lane.
Well, that's pretty good if that's the only thing that's really on your mind and everything else is getting reps and you're sharp. And the season itself, when do you guys officially start this year?
I think it's the last week of January. We're back in Delaware where I won last year.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
I love how the first event of the year is where I won to try to repeat. So there's no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all. No, not at all.
I would think it's also got to be, at least there's good memories. There's a good thought process going in to start the season. It's actually, like, kind of blueprinted. It's almost perfect regardless, because you're already in the right mindset. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, do you have anywhere you can practice that would kind of imitate some of the patterns on the tour just to get ready for the season?
Yeah, so Enterprise is pretty high friction. That's where the Springfield stop is at. So I will league there every 4 weeks. So I'm familiar with the surface there. Sunshine's pretty tougher. It's the house I use for the team event during Greater Ozarks. And then Andy B's is the string pen, and it's high friction. So typically everything on tour is high friction going to Bolero Center or whatever.
Sure.
So you had a pretty lengthy post a couple months ago when you bowled a string pin regional. And I just want to, maybe you could break down a little bit of what you remember, with your experience on string pins, because clearly they're not going anywhere. With the amount of money that the USBC and the PBA are putting into it together, it's probably going to be the future of the sport on the tour someday. Kind of let everybody know that didn't read your post on Facebook or don't follow you, what you saw and what you experienced when you bowled that regional.
So it's basically our future of the sport. You're going to have to adjust to it. It's just like when we were bowling on wood lanes, went to full synthetic lanes. They had that transition period. When you're throwing urethane, going to reactive, you had the people that didn't like it. They thought it was going to ruin the game.
Right.
And same thing with, like, pins and twister pins. Like, people still have a discussion about that.
Sure.
String pins is going to be the future of our sport. It's going to get more bowling centers just to be able to stay open. The cost of maintenance is way lower, and it doesn't take $100,000 mechanic to fix anything. You can train some kid at $20 an hour to fix or be back there. You don't even have to have a full mechanic on duty when you have string machines. So, and based on, like, how they fall, now there's 2 types of string machines. You have the certified, and then you have the carnival. And what you're seeing all over the internet is the carnival games where you're picking up 710s like they're cake. or you have like the certified ones where it's actually almost identical as free fall machines. Now, me being two-handed, a lot of revs, dominant speed, I'm not sending any messengers. Like, you're going to see that across the board. You're not going to see anyone sending a messenger here and there. You will have a couple weird string hits happen, but it's give and take. Like, I'm going to be getting a messenger every game probably on free fall. But on the string machines, I might get one a tournament. And I think during the regional, we saw maybe 3 or 4 weird hits during qualifying. But then we got to like the position round where the good bowlers were bowling, and you saw a lot more like unique hits that would have carried like a messenger style hit for string pins. So I think it's going to be good for the sport. I'm a huge advocate for it, and
it's very much in line with what Ryan Schaefer had to say about them too. Is actually almost identical to what he had to say. And even me, I mean, my perception has changed. My opinion on them has changed. I always try and look at both sides of the coin. So one part of me is saying everything you just said. It's a little bit more of an emphasis on premium shot making. It kind of takes out the overpowering element that guys like yourself or even an EJ, a Jesper, a Belmo, a Simo possess.
Yeah.
My flip side was always, obviously, I'm a traditionalist. I like free falling pins. I just do. When I see string pins, I think of the short lane on a cruise ship or the back of the Silverton off the strip in Vegas. But the thing that always got me was, I'm also like for the working guy. And I mean, I start to think about the amount of mechanics jobs that were so valued for so long, and now those guys who have made a living doing what they've done for so many years, hey, all of a sudden we don't need you anymore. Similar to all the countless self-checkout lines in the grocery store compared to the people making money to bag your shit for you. So I always wanted to like project my respect and upsettedness for the people that can no longer hold such jobs. But the reality is just like anything else in the world, you either evolve or die. You have to kind of progress with the times. And when it all comes to the front, the truth of the matter here is we're losing bowling alleys left and right and have been for quite some time. And if this is going to keep more bowling centers open to try and revive the sport, I definitely understand why that would outweigh the other things that I just aforementioned. So
yeah, shot making is key. Any light hit, it was instant a bucket. Like, you really had to like put emphasis on what ball you were throwing and then how your entry angle was into the pocket. You wanted something driving. The late shaker 5 just doesn't really happen. You were leaving a 5 pin for sure. Like, we both agreed, Kevin and I were like, okay, shot making is key now with this. There were no weird hits. And it's funny, like, you see posts on Facebook, people bowling the regional, and I think EJ had a regional at his house. And you saw some bowlers complaining about it, but those were the bowlers that kind of like spray it. It's like, okay, you don't throw quality shots. You bank on like that lucky hit here and there to score. It levels the playing field.
I totally agree. I've bowled. We have one certified string lane at Rev Rates, Parker Bone and Matt Russo's Family Center, and I've bowled one event. It was actually a Dougie Vision event at the old Stelton Lanes. I think it's called Circle Entertainment now, but it was enjoyable for all the things that you're saying right now. It was like, all right, man, just like try and hit flush here. It's, out of the gate, if you're a shot maker to any extent, or you can keep your head about you when everybody else is losing theirs, you're in a spot where there is a chance for you to do well.
Yeah.
There's a chance for you to advance say if you're in 20 brackets, you may make it through 10 with a 220. Whereas if you bowl a 220 on free fall on a league light, you're like, fuck, there goes $100. It's God like that. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely swayed more towards than I used to be, because I was totally against them in the early going. And it's nice to hear 2 PBA champions and probably countless others that feel the same way say exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So no more, let's say, spray and pray. You won't get any more ring and tens, right? A lot of flat tens were being left.
Yeah, a lot of flat tens, weird 7-pin combinations. It was just weird leaves, but I threw it kind of bad, and I got what I paid for. So,
that's true. So that'll kind of, I mean, now we have the cream of the crop usually rises to the top anyway. So I mean, but if this is the future of the tour, do you think they'll be changing patterns to kind of try to keep up with the way the different pins fall? Does that make sense?
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I think with the right entry angle, you can strike from anywhere. I don't know what the patterns will look like this year. I don't think anything has been released for this year, but we'll see. I know there's a lot of questions this year, because last year there's a lot of the same idea that was on the lanes. It was like a one trick pony type of thing. Like if you could hook it, you were good.
You know, we noticed we talked about that in past shows too, Boog, where it was like it didn't really matter what pattern they wanted to name it, the mills, the length. It was like pretty much every week we either saw urethane up the track area, or we saw some kind of big ASIM, medium ASIM, moderate sim, getting somewhere around 22 to 25 at the arrows, around 7-8 down lane.
Yeah.
Ball speed around 18 miles an hour. And it kind of, as long as you can make the ball go left or you know, on your side of the lane, that was pretty much what you needed to do there.
Yeah.
So there'll be, and Rob, to what you said, I think that the string pins, they're going to lower the scoring pace. It may not be a massive amount, but they're going to lower the pace inevitably anyway. So it would almost be like kind of, there's almost no reason to make the conditions themselves tougher in that regard, because the pins are already going to make the scoring pace lower.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's like, you know, when you look at numbers like, oh, I remember when if you averaged 210 in league or 212 in league, you were one of the best in the state. Now, if you average 230, you're not even high average in that league. Well, I mean, respectfully, the difference between a 212 and a 230 is, instead of bowling a clean game with 2 doubles, you bowl a clean game with 2 turkeys. Yep. So it's really, I mean, what it all boils down to is over the course of time, and those, let's be honest, the bowling balls, the technology, the pins being the same weight has allowed those extra hits to happen since 1992, 1993. So I don't think necessarily making them harder is the right way to go, if you were even implying that they would make them harder. But back to what Boog said, I'm starting to ramble again, I'm sorry. Boog, have you heard anything about what you think their intentions are to eliminate that from happening, or is it near impossible with the amount of breakdown and the amount of bowlers starting events with urethane? Because eventually, if you bust the pattern up enough, you can make it look like anything you want.
Yeah, I've not really heard much of like what their plan is, but my thought process is majority of the centers that we go to are older, and they're not putting in new lane beds much more often now. So I have a feeling like just the fronts blow up that quick, and they're not putting enough mills in the front part of the lane to allow us to be there that long. Where I think is like, we're going to a center that has beat up lane beds. It's going to be hard to keep us further right or left-handed, for as long. So I think if we don't see the fronts, our first instinct is go left and go over the fronts.
Sure.
That's a great point, because back in the day, you know, when I bowled at Bradley Bowl before it's synthetic, I remember them resurfacing the lanes every summer. And with synthetic, obviously you don't have to do that anymore, but I'm sure there's a lifespan of them. Why do you think lane or center operators don't put in new lane beds? Is it just too costly to do that every, say, 10, 15 years?
I think so. I think they try to get the most value out of their machines and like their lane beds. There's a lot of centers still running A2s and haven't switched to GSXs.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they're like, it's a cash cow right now. Why would I change anything? And to be shut down for a month to replace lane beds, I don't think they see the value in it. And the tour only goes to certain houses. So I know Dave Smalls, great proprietor. He does a lot for his lane beds and his services. Woodland, I don't think they've changed anything in a while. Delaware Hooks, Steve at Enterprise hasn't done new lane beds probably in 15 years.
Right.
So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I have to bring up John Laspina and all of his success in the bowling industry too. I mean, John will go into a bowling center and bring it up to speed like he did with Rockville Center here in New York. But I would actually kind of like to ask Laspina, because that was a great point you just brought up. For a bowling center that's, say, not a Laspina or a Dave Small center where they host PBA events as well, are you really going to lose your league bowlers because your Brunswick Pro lane is 15 years old? Probably not. And when I was actually working capital equipment for Brunswick, just the lanes themselves, that for the panels, you were looking at approximately $8,000 per pair just for the panels. This isn't the labor. This isn't the install. This isn't checking the conduit underneath. This isn't leveling them and all the other shit that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So when you take, say, a 40-lane center and you're looking at that, I mean, there's $320,000 in just beds themselves. How much money would a mom and pop bowling center, when we're losing bowling centers by the day, how much value is in that, as opposed to, I don't know, if you really wanted to do you could update your furniture, you could make your bar a bar/restaurant, you can bring in entertainment, you can have party packages, rockin' bowls, whatever it may be. That's kind of what I was spitting there.
There's more money in the FEC side of it than like the tournament aspect of it for bowling centers nowadays.
True.
Like they would put in a game room now instead of adding lanes.
Absolutely.
No, it's a great point. No, and you're right. And it's and you know, we talked about this last week. It's so expensive for the average family to go out and bowl now. We're hoping that when string pins are implemented, you know, across the board, that maybe they would lower prices to make it more affordable, since they're not paying as much to maintain the machines and the lanes. I mean, at least, you know, we want to make bowling affordable again, because it is a blue collar sport. It is a family sport, and now it's just you got to take out a loan just to freaking have a birthday party at a bowling alley now. It's like it's stupid. And
the other scary part is, if you have aspirations to get to, say, where BOOG is, and, you know, bowl successfully in regionals, bowl successfully on tour, the amount of just the brands of Brunswick alone, the amount of bowling balls that come out, like, thank God this chick Sarah Bowles, who I started following on TikTok, does these videos, because today I found out that they re-released the Columbia Ricochet.
Yeah.
Which I never got to throw when it was a Columbia ball. So now I'm like shitting my pants excited over it. But the amount of bowling balls that come out, I mean, dude, every single time you walk into a shop, it's going to be about, depending on how much drilling is now, whether it's 60 or $80, you're looking at $250 minimum per pop. And you need fucking new balls, it seems, every few months just to even keep up.
It's crazy on how much like bowling prices have gone up in the pro shop wise.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when I first started bowling, you could probably get a high end ball for $199 out the door.
Absolutely. And BOOG, the crazy part about it is, take me and you, for example. We don't use thumbs.
Yeah.
I mean, I could drill if 45 people came into my shop when I was in Vegas, and they were all thumbless, maybe an hour and a half max. That's gluing the grips. Assuming I knew what layouts they, you know what I mean, the actual drilling. And like when I hear, shit, you're charging a thumbless two-hander $80.
Yeah.
To drill a ball, like, whoa, man, I got out of the industry too soon. I should still be there.
It's a crazy thing. I'm hearing like $60 for a 2-finger drill. Like what? It's just boom, boom.
Right. Dude. I had John Fury fully plug and attitude control for me because that ball works at Chaco's. I expect that full plug to be 60 to 80 bucks.
Sure.
That's what I like. That's the kind of work, because plugging fingers and a thumb, cutting it down, putting it back to the box, that takes a while, throwing it on a surface machine. The 2-finger thing, I'm like, ooh. I would usually, and then people, the argument will always be, well, you can go to the guy that does it for cheaper, but you're going to tell me your thumb hurts and this and that, and then you're going to have it fixed, and that's going to cost even more than had you just spent the extra $20 for me to get your valve and your PAP and your this and your that. Listen, dude, I did all that for my customers anyway. But if my customers wanted a ball and my profit on the ball is my drill, of course I'm going to charge them. All right, you know what? The wall says 50. I'll make the drilling 40. The grips are still going to be 12. And instead of charging you 20 for the slug, I'll charge you 15. That's the best I could do. I'm still pretty fucking satisfied with that profit on that drill. The customer's happy, and I don't second guess my work because I'm charging less than the guy up the road that charges 80. That could be I don't even know why we're talking about this right now, Rob.
It's fine.
We can talk about this at any time we want.
That's fine.
I think Buddies has a great thing they do every time they do social media. They do $10 2-handed drills if you buy a ball from their website. I think that's crazy. Why haven't other people hopped on this train of hey, if you buy a ball from us, one flat fee, $10, outdoor 2-handed, you're good.
Sure,
I think that's a pure moneymaker.
It's a brilliant ball. Chris Foria and his entire staff and Buddies have always had the good ideas on how to drive the customer base that they have and deserve. But yeah, you're exactly right. Buy this ball off our site. Just the same price you would buy it blank off the wall at a local pro shop.
Yeah.
If you know your specs, $10 drill fee, and does that include finger grips? If it doesn't, it's $20. The shipping's included, whatever the hell it comes out to.
Yeah, you're maybe $30 into it with grips,
exactly, and it takes an extra literally 20 seconds of your time.
Yeah, I think it takes
to drill those 2 holes.
I think with mapping out equipment and drilling, I did 3 balls in about 15 minutes.
Sure, exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
What's the markup? What's the margin on the bowling ball itself? Obviously, you make your money with the drilling and all that, but I mean, what was the actual markup and profit margin off the balls?
I don't know how much pro shops get them for.
Yeah,
it's out of my pay range.
Some pro shops will have a deal depending on how much they purchase from a specific supplier. So let's say, just for instance, I'll use a local pro shop that I know buys exclusively from Steve Cook's Bowling Supply in Sacramento, California. So let's say you go onto the page and the brand new bowling ball is the High Road. And I don't actually give a shit if anybody wants to say, you're not allowed to say this, blah, blah, blah. Come get me. I don't have anything. But let's say a High Road. The cost on the website for a supplier is $108. So it's going to be $108 unless they're an exclusive customer that, say, gets 10% off, right? So let's say the $108 ball comes out to $98.60. The High Road came out in 2009 and basically made it almost a decade. That High Road, when you would go into a pro shop and get it on the wall, it was usually around $129.95, $139.95 for the undrilled price. So when you really look at it, the markup on a bowling ball is usually, we'll call it what? It's minimal.
Yeah.
A T-zone, a pro shop will buy for $35 and they'll put it on the wall for $59.
Right.
So your markup isn't even worth the investment for that ball itself. Not to mention now the pro shop guy, when he has a hot bowling ball come out, he has to make sure he's got 2 and 14 pounds, maybe a 12 pounder, or at least a case in 15s, and the odd ball that still throws 16. Maybe you carry 1 for the popular ball. So now you've invested this $700-800, and your markup is only 30. Of course, you have to try and cover your costs with the drilling, and that's kind of been the constant for a while in at least the pro shop industry, of which I knew. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, and then it's what do you do at this point? Do you put the High Road on the wall and say, no, this ball is $239.95, but the drilling is only $20?
Yeah.
Are you gonna try and do that kind of mental fuckery with the customer? So it always comes out to the same thing. So
Yeah, I like these shops that they match like online pricing where it's like, okay, because customers come in all the time and be like, oh, I can buy this online for $149. Okay, I'll price that $149, but then you're still paying for drilling.
sure. Our big thing when they would say that was that's priced at $149, but just remember it's not warranted for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the other big thing. And bowling balls, respectfully, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the exterior surface of that bowling ball is usually only about 3/8 of an inch thickness, whether if it's a 3-piece bowling ball. So the likelihood of it cracking is like it's higher than normal. The production of them, right?
Yep.
And you get a new one for 2 years, 1 year, whatever anybody's policy may be, company to company. So I would always try and use that prior to Bowler's Mart taking it over, where they were online anyway. And the prices reflected on the wall of the station properties were exactly the prices you would find the undrilled for on Bowler's Mart's website.
Yeah.
Let's get to a question here from the chat from Rocket Reviews on YouTube. We've covered this several times, but I just want to know if there's any. I also am curious to see if there's been any talk lately. Any rumbling about PBA just banning urethane completely? No. Would that go over well with bowlers?
There's been no talks.
Okay.
I think something big would have to happen in the industry. But I think the only thing that's going to happen is the 2-year rule or like 3-year rule, whatever they do now with a hardness. So it's got to be produced 2 years or 3 years from the date on the ball.
Yeah. And that was something that happened, a couple of years ago. That talk has pretty much died down, especially with all the new releases they've had recently with the 78U and
if it's produced like 78 or harder, it's good for 2 years and you're good.
What new releases are you excited about? Because the brands of Brunswick have been fucking killing it this year, and this latest batch that's coming out has me really intrigued with the hammer.
Yeah, there's a bunch coming
and,
out.
Yeah,
the Tour effect should look really good. I think it's kind of slower for me, so it might be a decent ball that I need in my bag. The new Hammer Anger looks pretty good.
It does.
Like a lower end shape it type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the Ricochet, like Johnny said, the Ricochet looks pretty good. I saw Kevin throw it, and he's left-handed nail strike, but yeah, the Ricochet looks really good. It looks like a spot where it's a shiny pearl symmetrical ball that we need. And then I'm excited for the Theorem Pearl. The Theorem was a great one in my bag. It was a smoother, like shiny ASIM that I needed. And to have the Pearl version, I hope it rolls even better.
Absolutely. Yeah, that ball can't be bad. It has to be good.
It's got to be good. Same with the Anger. I think it will be better than the Scorpion Strike.
I agree.
You still using the black Hammer black urethane?
Since tour season, it's in the garage.
It is? Okay, I figured. Yeah. Not much you can do with that.
I ordered a new one to like re-drill it, but I'm like, I'm keeping everything the same.
Right, yeah. I mean, with a house shot, you really don't need that at all. You don't need that much power. Go ahead, John.
I have a quick question. Did you drill the new blue hammer or the new Rattler?
The new blue? Yeah, I drilled it when it first came out.
Any thoughts on that one for you? I'm curious.
So whenever that ball came out, it was supposed to be like the new option for a tour and like the new idea for tour. And it was great on like a house shot. But I think on like tour, it just saw it too much in weird spots. And it just didn't match up correctly to what we needed on the tour season. But I think for like a house shot ball, it might be pretty good. Like I'm thinking about taking one just for shits and giggles. But I think it has a place in a league bowler's bag. I don't think the Black Hammer does, but I think like the new blue would have a spot in a bag. And then the Rattler, I never drilled one.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm always curious about balls that are seemingly successful at a certain level and never even seen at another one. Like it's obvious just based off the tour that I'll just throw out like the Storm Phase 2 or the original Idol are just like the shits. The IQ Tour We know the Venom Shock, whatever year it is, with the Jackal Ghost. We know that they're just legendary bowling balls. It's very similar to our brands also. But when I see a ball around, just like regular bowlers, house bowlers, tournament bowlers, and I see a lot of something and then I don't see any of it on tour, it always raises that question in my brain.
Yeah. I don't think right-handers need the New Blue or the Rattler NU. I think it's a good lefty ball. Just so that they don't have to throw like a purple or a black. They can throw some reactive.
Sure. I totally understand and totally agree. Go on, Rob. Sorry I cut you off there.
No, you're fine. No, I kind of noticed that as well. Like there was a lot of hype around the New Blue, but you didn't see a lot of it on tour, and obviously Boog just explained why. You didn't see a lot of Teal Ronald Pros or any of the new, the Quantum re-releases either. Like it just didn't seem to get in anybody's bags on tour. Just I don't know why, but maybe you.
I think a lot of like shiny ASIMs were like the daddy this year.
Absolutely.
Like the Black Widows were always on TV, it felt like, or the Black Urethane, of course. But it seemed like the bigger ASIMs were, or you had Marshall throwing the GB5.
Yes. That GB4 looked pretty good too, though. That was throw it a bunch.
That one's pretty good. I like that one a lot.
I like that one too. I enjoyed throwing that ball. I got drunk one night and gave it away, hopefully to a kid that deserved it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it while I had it.
Yeah, I have my Delaware one in the garage that won't see a lane again.
Excellent. Good shit.
All right, we got 10 minutes left. Should we include Boog in the Imbecile of the Week? I think it'd be a little fun.
Boog, you want to stick around for the Imbecile of the Week?
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the Imbecile of the Week.
Some people are really stupid.
All right. This Imbecile of the Week this week. I'm going to let you guys determine who you think is based on the poster and the commentees. Who you think should be the Imbecile of the Week this week. This post comes from Storm Bowling fans. Sorry, I'm cut out your face there, Boog. Joe McCurley posts, another Storm ball cracked. Went to clean them, opened my bag, and my Insight is cracked. Wow. Never buying Storm again. Before we get into the comments, Johnny, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts of just the initial post, of just what he said, based on the crack of the ball and this person saying he's never going to buy Storm again? Your initial thoughts.
My initial thoughts are this. If I'd have just read the post and not seen the picture, well, actually not. No, I can't even say that. Two problems. The inside is like 8 or 9 years old. It's also discolored. You can see it's actually hazing, which means my assumption is this ball's been through hell as far as temperature changes, especially cold, because the white means that he threw it. It's the oil trying to escape through the pores of the bowling ball, which means the ball probably stayed stationary for an entire period throughout the season. And you are informed by any bowling ball driller nowadays that a lot of things will cause a bowling ball to crack. If a ball sits on your floor stationary and doesn't get rotated for long enough, it could crack. We had bowling balls crack on the wall in the shop. So this guy didn't take care of his ball, and he's pissed off, and I hate to say it, if he does the same thing with any other bowling ball from any other company, the same shit will happen.
Boog, your thoughts?
I think go back to the picture. Sure. The top ball looks like a Brunswick Knockout or a Motive Villain, and then the bottom ball looks like an older Brunswick ball. So obviously this guy doesn't buy bowling balls very often. The Insight, who bought the Insight to begin with? And yeah, it looks
that ball sucked.
like no one bought that one, and it looks like it hasn't moved in 8 years.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, what do you expect?
I like both of your opinions.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think the guy's an imbecile. He's just either uneducated, unaware, And honestly, if those was only 2 bowling balls and he was going to have a fun time after God knows how fucking long, and he opened his bag and they're fucking split, yeah, I'd be upset too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't post it on social media because I'm not a bitch.
Well, it's true. That is a good.
That's really my only complaint with that.
No, that's a great complaint. But swearing off a brand, like never again, like
yeah, no,
I don't know. That's a little extreme.
Like, what if Storm decided to say, "Hey, we're really, really sorry about what happened with your Insight.
Right.
Let us gladly send you a Road Warrior that comes out in like a month
or something in the last.
You still going to quit on Storm? Of course you're not. You'll drill the new fucking ball and you'll be happy about it."
Chad Hauser says the balls nowadays are built so quickly and with materials that make them so porous and soft that they are subject to humidity and temperature changes that without constant movement the chemicals actually still change within them and cause them all to crack. Just depends on the pour. I've had all brands crack in my pro shop. It's more so once holes are put in them, as that now gives the balls chemicals a point of release, which can open the opportunity for it to crack. It's part of the business now. With balls being so much softer, able to absorb more oil is part of the game now. If you're going to store them in a period of time, put them in a bag to help maintain humidity in the ball. We could both agree. We could all agree on that, correct?
Yeah, who is this? Bill Nye the Science Guy? What's going on here?
That was really well, like
very
that
good.
was perfect.
That was literally perfect. Well, Johnny, you've been around the game a little bit longer than Boog.
That guy makes so much sense to me. Please reach out to him and tell him I want to be
Chad Hauser.
Facebook.
I will. I will
That
literally
makes
do that.
so much sense to me. Reading that, I'm like, oh my god, this guy's like touching my soul right now.
So for somebody that's been around a long time, Johnny, since you're 40 now, and you're an old man, I'm just busting your balls. How come? And Ocho will say the same thing. How come we've stored our old bowling balls in our fucking basement or our attic, our garage, our trunks in the cold? Blah 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 blah. The old balls don't crack like that. My quantum
when you drill into the surface of a bowling ball nowadays, I mentioned this earlier on the show. The bowling balls predominantly are 3 pieces nowadays. So you have core, cover, weight block, and the cover is usually about that thick before you see the color separation into the inner core, right? So here's a bowling ball that you will never see crack, ever. A purple hammer, a black hammer. Any ball that's a 2-piece pour, where if you actually drill into the ball, it's the exterior cover is what's on the inside, those balls won't crack. So prior to 3-piece bowling balls, that was never an issue with cracking, ever. I mean, so nowadays, yes, that's the integrity of the exterior of the bowling ball is way more sensitive to elements surrounding it as opposed to those 2-piece pours.
Okay. And what Corey said, which was, scientifically spot on.
Yep.
So Russell Newman asked them, how and where are you storing them? Do you clean them immediately after use? Probably not. If going to clean and then discovering, would recommend cleaning immediately after use. I've never had a ball crack from any manufacturer that wasn't properly stored and cleaned after every use. Now, I'm not putting him in the running for imbecile, but I thought he brought up a good point, which I want to ask you, Boog. Does it really matter if you clean your balls after each use?
I don't. I go through stuff so quick. And if it's a ball I like, I'll resurface it every once in a while, but I'm not taking power wash to it after every use. So, no.
It seems to be like a league bowler thing, Johnny, right? Like, I don't know why, like, they feel like they have to fucking bake them and clean them and, create their own fucking spinners and, like...
Yeah, they get the acetone out and just...
Right, yeah.
Dude, league bowlers are their own breed. Like, every once in a while, I go to Planet Fitness because they actually have really, really great equipment.
Yeah.
But it's like walking into another planet when I go into Planet Fitness. I don't really know what half of the people in there are doing.
Yeah.
Or why they're doing it, where they're doing it.
Right.
So, what were we talking about that made me even mention that?
League bowlers being a league throw.
So like I see league bowlers, they'll sand a ball to 500 every time before they start league. And they bowl Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then they'll have the other people, like, they'll sit there and I'll watch them bring their 3 ball cups and they're spraying, like, diluted Fabuloso on it and cleaning it with a dish rag. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'll look at it and I'll go, aren't all you doing is just clogging the pores of the ball every single time you power wash it or do whatever you're doing to it? I don't know. Or I had a couple people that would come in and do a full oil extraction every week before league.
Yeah.
They'd come in at 2:00, they'd have the ball de-oiled. They bowled 3 games with it last week, and they're trying to oil extract it every week. $30 a pop. I'm like, you don't have to do this. This is stupid. But
John, I haven't cleaned my Teal Rhino Pro since I got it in 1994. I'm just saying.
I don't. I'll tell you, the only ball I ever really even wipe off is my urethane shit.
Yeah.
Just a little too much oil on the urethane ball will actually travel further down the lane and change the motion of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or there'll be times that I don't wipe the urethane because I need it to get through, say, dirty heads. But most of the time, the only section of the ball I'm even wiping off is where my palm is, just to make sure it doesn't slip because of the no thumb.
Where's Taryn when you need her, talking about dirty heads and wiping balls? I mean,
she's probably somewhere.
I'm just saying. Sam Capizzi Jr. says, all bowling balls crack. What a dumb, uninformed statement this post puts out. If you don't want them to crack, don't leave them in cars or garages. I think I put him.
You didn't have to be like that demeaning, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't put him on the list for being a douchebag?
I mean, he's definitely a douchebag for just being a douchebag. Like, who deliberately goes out of their way to like want to write to somebody else that they're dumb?
I think it's a special breed that will post in those like forums.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you're wrong. You're not doing it the right way, but I'm still in this forum too.
Exactly.
Jeffrey H. Gray, do all you can do, but I feel the balls made for performance are also volatile. If you don't want ball to crack, buy urethane to be happy with lower scores. Is that an uneducated statement? I mean, or is that true?
It has some truthful aspects to it.
Okay, all right. Kendall Strand, it's ball maintenance. Clean after every use and store off season in bags they come in. The cracking comes from polymers and cover drying out. Haven't had one crack in several years since practicing this. Have you ever heard of anybody doing that, Boog? Just putting them back and keeping the plastic that they came in the box and just...
No, I know there's this like brand of like bowling bags where you can like store them in. They tie up really weird, and it's I don't know what brand it is, but it's based out here in Oklahoma. Some kid designed it, went to Wichita and did it, and I guess it's supposed to like save the life of the bowling ball. I'm not sure. I know some people do that, but the bag's like $25 a pop, so I don't see a lot of bowlers investing in that. It's
Johnny,
just
have you heard of anything like that? Or
let me see if I can.
Rob, dude, if I showed you my bowling shoes right now, you would answer. You would answer your own question.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Dude, I bring a Max Bias, a T-Zone, and an Ivory Rhino Pro to Howell on Mondays. And I bring a T-Zone, a Black Hammer, and a New Blue to Majestic on Tuesdays.
You throw the Max Bias?
I love that ball.
That's a left-hander's ball for sure, if I've ever heard of one.
That ball, man, that ball for me just sees it the right way.
It's a urethane ball, basically.
You're exactly right. It's a stronger urethane ball.
Yeah.
It goes forward for me, and I can, the ball shockingly rolls. I hit it with 4,000 when I first got it. It was way too chuggy out of the box, but after the 4,000, it's been good.
Huh, interesting. Our last comment comes from Casey Ballard. It's called "Don't Store Them in Your Car."
Yeah, so I guess, Rob, rather than calling it an actual imbecile of the week, maybe this was informative to people that are sitting there and like are unaware of the dangers of doing all this shit, because everybody that wrote something tonight actually brought up a good point. And even the initial guy, if it obviously doesn't know any better, he had a cause to be upset. I still think he's a bitch, so I'm gonna call him a bitch for making the post.
The bitch of the week.
Yeah, but no, it was actually some good information there. I mean, everything that everybody said was spot on, especially if you're not the person that's going out and going through bowling balls like it's water, and you're not going out and buying a new ball every single month. Yeah, a little bit of maintenance here and there on the bowling ball itself. Fine, you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to fucking sand the ball at 500 every week. It's fine. I promise you. It's got at least 6 more games before you have to touch it again.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyway, we did exactly 1 hour so Boog can go get his ass ready for league.
Yes. Good luck tonight. Last time you were on the show, I think you shot 300 in league. So
And 800, yeah. So hopefully we can do that again.
Got the rub.
I might take the new blue just in case.
And if you do, and you bowl 300, fuck yeah.
Yeah. That that would be amazing. Boog, thanks for coming on again, brother. It's always good to talk to you and catch up with you. We'll obviously be watching you as the season starts next January. So are you pumped? Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited to repeat at Delaware?
I'm excited, a little bit nervous, but it's just so weird. I don't want to put any expectations into next year because it's so hard to win on the PBA tour. I just want to have a successful year, whatever that looks like. To have a Zach Wilkins year would be pretty cool. To not win and cash in every event, that would be pretty cool. But if we were to find our way to the title match again, then I hope things fall the right way. So,
well, if you win again, you need to get some more merch out so people can join Team Boog.
Yeah, we will try to be better about next year.
It's quality shit. It really is. It's an amazing hat. Like I love this hat.
I love how you do it on the website, shipped to your house. There's no.
It was perfect.
I have to buy everything. It was just easy website, pick what you want, and easy like that.
That's what we need to do, Johnny.
It's American. It's stationed here in Missouri. It's a great company.
I love it. In fact, we may talk to you about it off air, and
we absolutely will talk to you about it off air.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. Good luck with the end of the year, and get ready for the tour, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, bud. Take care, buddy.
Yep, bye-bye.
John Boy, another good show.
Another great show, man. Always a pleasure to have Boog here. A lot of good topics tonight. I really kind of enjoyed digging a little bit deeper into the strings, the balls, the transition of the lanes. A lot of good information tonight with Boog.
It was. Obviously, we don't usually go into this with any kind of a game plan. We just kind of let the conversations go as they may, and we always come out with bangers. So
yeah, somebody always says something, and then we kind of just take the reins in each direction.
How are you doing in the league?
I'm enjoying bowling like a lot for the first time in a long time.
Good. You kind of go in waves, I've noticed.
Yeah, but I that was more so last year. I was in my waves. I was definitely in my waves in Vegas. But the I almost forgot about the camaraderie of the East Coast inside the bowling alley.
Very
true.
I
forgot about the competitive nature. I forgot about what it was like to be surrounded by 5-man leagues where everybody gives a shit. Right. Everybody's invested in action. There's always something going on. And I thoroughly enjoy my team on Monday. I mean, I bowl with some of my dearest friends, especially since moving back here. And my Tuesday team, we are literally a team of 5 complete misfits who are all fucking crazy. And I've never met any of them prior to going to see Martha bowl over the summer. And Mike, my buddy Mike, asked me to bowl. This guy Mike asked me to bowl. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll join your team. It's the greatest group of guys ever in a 5-person scratch league. I mean, I'm just really, really enjoying bowling right now. My bowling game is sucking because my weightlifting is getting so good.
I've noticed you're
every week that I lift and get a little bit bigger because I'm really, really trying to pack on the weight now that winter's here. Every week I get a little bit bigger, my bowling gets a little bit worse. The week that I bowled 845, I played golf that day.
Yeah.
So at least I was stretched out for 4 hours. I guess that's why I bowled so well. But it's an effort to bowl 220. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have no idea where the ball is going when it leaves my hand.
Do some yoga, bro. Like not just DDP yoga, which is what I use to lose weight and all that. Like it's amazing for just stretching, elongating your spine, getting all your your joints, it's like oil for the Tin Man is what DDP says. Like, it's just getting your joints fucking greased up and it's good shit. Like, you should try. Like, it may help you actually.
I would love it because right now my best friends are Voltaren, Osteo Biflex, and Advil.
I hear you.
And Jose.
Yes, I hear you. We'll talk off here. I'll get you a link to that. You can check out the program. It's it would really it keeps you younger too. Like, seriously, it won't, obviously, you don't do a lot of cardio. It'll give you the cardio you need in like 20 minutes. You don't have to go on a fucking Stairmaster or anything like that. So, but I know you're not a big cardio guy anyway. You get thicker every week. I swear to God, you are thicker every single week.
Putting the calories to good use. I'm about to hammer 3 fucking tacos right now as soon as we hang up.
I love it. First show we did without Ocho, and I thought it went pretty well.
Hey, we breezed through. I tend to believe you would have had a lot of great questions tonight, considering the shit that we talked about. But good, give the man a night off. He deserves it.
He does deserve it. So, big announcement before we go. This just happened this morning, thanks to our buddy right here, Chuck Ritchie Jr., who, by the way, complains about not being on the show, but he's in our open every single week. Every single week.
He's on the show more than Ocho.
He's literally on the show more than Ocho. But no, we are going to have Chuck on the show. It's like a running joke that he's never going to be here. We love you, Chuck. Chuck helped me out with next week's guest. I made this graphic right before we got on the air, so it might be a little wonky. Next week, we are looking at JT Action Jackson. You guys may know him from various movies and TV shows he's been in, or on the PBA regional tour. He's literally carried a 200-plus average his whole career on the regional tour, and is in the news right now for suing Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart is no allegedly anymore. Kevin Hart literally tried to ruin his life and ruin his career. I watched an hour-long interview this morning about it where he told he was found not guilty for trying to extort money from Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart fabricated a PDF and claimed he emailed it to that he got it from JT Jackson, which he didn't. Forensic analysis proved that it was never emailed to begin with. So JT is going to get his comeuppance here and sue the fuck out of Kevin Hart and the LADAs. And he will talk about all that next week. He said he's an open book. He's excited to come on the show to talk about that, talk about bowling, talk about his acting career. And we're looking forward to having him. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big show.
Definitely looking forward to catching up with good old JT.
And Belmo and all the pros are sticking up for him and sharing that interview that he had. He's a good dude. He's down to earth. Give me his phone number, for Christ's sakes. Like, don't even know me from Adam, but, just a really, really good dude that got fucked over by the Hollyweird. And you will hear about that next week as well, his bowling career. So
I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yes, and hopefully Ocho will be here for that because I really think he will do well talking to JT because, Ocho's a comedian himself. So they're of the same ilk. So that being said, next week, JT Jackson will be here. And Johnny and I will be here too. And we thank you guys. We thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Hope you guys have a great week. Take care. We will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.